All right. Good morning, family. Hmm. I see something interesting here. Um, yeah, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So for the first time in a long, long time, right? Hannah, good
Yeah,
morning.
good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So, um, I might be saying some things you might not be following up with, but just try to grab, right? Um, Fortunately, yeah, this is the sell limit we had at this very point. If you could remember, right? Judging with
Welcome to WUS Music World.
what's happening. Okay. So what actually happened? What actually happened was that it broke like this from this point, the 50% pullback from this point to this point, right? Is it? Yeah, that should be it, isn't it? Yeah. So we expected a sell at this very point, but it broke, even took us out and still flying. So the question is simple, yeah? Is it possible? Of course, we are facing two things here. Is it possible that this market is trying to attempt to respect this former, I'm trying to get that former spot here. Um, this zone, sir, with this particular one is confusing me. Let me come to this. When you already have your markups here. So okay, this was the former zone we sold from, right? Okay, no, yeah. So this was our former high and low, right? This zone to this zone. So what I'm saying here, is it possible that look at this, that this market is trying to respect this area still? As I'm trying to see here right now. Yeah. Is it possible it's trying
Sorry, is this the advanced class or beginners class?
um, beginners class, beginners, but not to worry, I will carry you along right now. I just want to show us something, then we flow, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you have nothing to worry about. So I just need to show us something. Then we'll talk about how to understand um the charts, yeah. So we'll break down how to actually analyze the market, right? So you get okay, give me a moment, right? Mm, mm, okay. Oh sh Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, today's what? Okay, we'll be talking about market players and play times, right? Just key times to be mindful of while in the market, right? Key times to be mindful of while in the market. So let's get on that. Mm, right. Okay. So first things first are times to point out, right? So first of all, right, you need to understand what moves the market, right? You need to understand what really moves the market. Gosh, come on. Okay, 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 okay. Pause or stop. Okay, that means it's recording. Okay, amazing. You need to understand what moves the market, right? So uh, first is big players, right? Not just the retail traders, institutions, banks. These are what moves the market, right? And if you know that, you can actually help or understand the best time to trade, all right? So as to take advantage of these big moves, all right? Yeah. So apart from knowing who moves the market, you need to know when these moves really happen, right? So you don't get stuck up in low volatility movements. You get to hop in, when the big moves happen, right? And that actually helps you, right? And another thing, you should know the major currencies, right? Major currencies, basically. Now, let's say for US dollar, if you go to US pairs, let's say Euro USD for instance. Now, for Euro USD to trend downwards, right? Or let's say USD JPY, what is that? For USD JPY to trend upwards, right? The economy of the US has to be strong, right? And if the economy of the US is strong, the US dollar will be stronger. So with what you're even seeing here, right? This can tell you that the Japanese yen is somehow gaining against the dollar, right? And to help it make it clear, this is the dollar index, right? It simply shows you the movement of dollar, right? So you can tell, let me go to I can even say the weekly time frame. So you see the behavior of the dollar for so the dollar has been trending downwards since 11th March. In fact, if you compare um January 2025, the dollar has gone way, way down. Like the US economy, basically, the strength of the dollar has gone down. Imagine from the value at 100 down to 98. Right? You can see the chart. This is it. Right? I think I've forgotten that of Naira, sorry. But Naira is just, so if you like the dollar exchange rate right now, so this time it's not that um Naira is gaining strength against the dollar. The dollar itself is losing its value. That's why um of course the Nigerian whatever are trying to bring down or increase the value of the Naira to at least get it to like 1,000 per dollar. So with that as well, the dollar index or the dollar strength, whatever it is going down regardless. So if you understand this, same thing goes for every other currencies. Right? Of course, this war is telling on them. All right. This war is telling on them. So when you understand this, it actually helps you. Other big market players are, of course, the banks, like I told you. Mm. These guys, of course, Federal Reserves, you know them. Now, of course, hedge funds, institutions, like I told you, the list on the box, right, are us, the retail traders, right? We affect the market, but in a very, 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 very minute way. So the best way to actually stay profitable in this space is to take advantage of what the big guys are doing. And the best way to take advantage of them is to know when they step in and how they step in. All right. So know when they step in and how they step in. So now this will now tell you, okay, what sessions should I trade? Right? You know your schedule. Of course, if you are if you are in the US, right, you will tend to trade more of New York session because that's like your daytime, right? London is you should be sleeping during the London session. If you're in Africa, of course, Nigeria, you have the advantage of trading both um London and New York. All right. If you try to trade the Asian session, you have to be awake in the night. Right. So if you let me show us something basically. Um, this is good. Uh, just don't worry about all of this. Wait, let me see something. Mm, there's an option there. All right. So this is a clean chat right now. So I want to show you some key times I've discovered that has most high volatility moves. Right. Apart from today, there's a crazy spike up. Let's check. Now, point times I've noticed 2 a.m. in the morning. This is an Asian session. Most institutions get into the market around 2 a.m. in the morning. Right. The next time is 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is London Open. The next crazy time, these big moves, yeah, happen aside from news, right? The next big time is New York Open. So if you get to know some of these opens, yeah, you know how to position yourself in the market at that particular time. And that you're having that you're trading these different times, you need to know the pairs you trade at these particular times as well, right? So if you trade what's it called? Like um in our community, basically, we get ideas of Dow Jones, that's the US 30, right? US 30 will give you the best move, right? During the New York session. US 30 will give you the best moves. This was yesterday from 2 p.m. or rather 2:30. Yeah. You'll be able to get something during the London session, right? But the best moves you're looking for, yeah, happen during the New York session. And also, if you I'm sharing this with you, yeah, this is what I've got to understand. Now, if I change this particular um time frame to New York, right? You're gonna see that during what's it called? During market tends to slow down, right? But the market tends to slow down from 11 to 1 p.m., right? Or let's say 11 to 12. I call this brunch break. Yeah, I think I've told Henry about it. Yeah. So if you're caught up, let's say around 6, 5, 6, 7, and the market is a bit slow, just know that that's like a brunch break. The traders step out to, of course, have their meal or whatever it is to come back in for the afternoon session. And that's why sometimes you notice market will slow down a little bit. Then from 8, 9, you can see some crazy moves before the market closes for the day. So their 5 p.m. is actually 10 10 p.m. So that's when their market officially closes till the new day, right? Just like what you're seeing here. Um, I don't know what I'm seeing here. I don't know what I'm seeing here. Okay, yeah. So 11 was a little pullback. Then, of course, from 1, you can see this is 1 hour time frame. From 1 p.m., their time, this 1 p.m. is like 7 p.m., right? The market pushed a little bit. Then, of course, before it closes, there's something I want to tell you, but let me stay on course, right? Back to back to our time from Lagos, right? So you can see this point I showed you, it was 5. By 6, market continue. as usual. So next thing to point out is, right? Next thing to point out, like I told you, um, so for our time, right? I want you to also know that, of course, the forex market runs 24 hours. If you actually think about it, it runs 24 hours. That is not open for you doesn't mean it's not open for other persons in their particular zones. All right. And also, times to also look out for are overlaps. Right. We have the we have the sessions overlap. We have the sessions overlap, right? Okay. Just a bit to digress, yeah. Just to digress a bit. Just to digress a bit. Not to worry. Just to digress a bit. Because it's so nice. Henry and Fortune, I'm looking at something towards this area. Just to digress a bit. Don't be, it's crazy. Yeah, it's as though you're having a session in a session. All right. So this is what I'm looking at. It's interesting. So we have like, why? See, for amazing, amazing. Let me just get us clear on something, right? So for the longest time, right, Richie, Zoom user, Hannah, yeah. For the longest time, I've already had Fortune and Henry on this call, right? So we've been flowing with something, right? We've been flowing with a particular line of thought. So I just needed to put them or show them what we've been talking about, right? So, but for the new guys, I'm just taking you on what you're supposed to talk about today, right? Um, so that is it. Not to worry. You have no. So this is zero worries. Zero worries. Um, coming. So, just just a moment before we. Just give me a moment. Um. Okay. Okay. So, so, guys, this is a trade idea. You can hop on it if you, but this is what we are looking at here. I'm looking at this dump. It's certainly gonna sell to like this very point today, right? I'm just choosing this point for this very moment. So that's just what it is. Just what it is. So back to what I was talking about, right? So now, some of the best training times here are London, New York overlap, right? We have Asian London overlap, right? London, New York overlap is basically from 12 to 2 p.m. or from 12 to 1 p.m., right? Of course, um, the New York starts within the London session. The London session is still on, but but New York starts, right? So if you observe the market, sometimes you're going to see crazy moves here by 1 p.m., crazy moves by 12, crazy moves by 2 p.m., just before the New York open, right? Same thing happens with Asian, right? You're going to see around 6 o'clock, 6:30. Yeah, just why the New York is still on towards 8 a.m. The London stars overlapping with Asian, there's some crazy volatility around these times. So if you get to understand all of this, you know when to take advantage of these moves and what pairs to trade at these times. You don't just pick any random pair and expect you don't pick up any random pair and expect it to give you a crazy move, right? So the times are very, very, very important as well. Okay. So the last on the list is, of course, volatility. What is volatility? It simply means the speed of price movement, right? So in this very chart, this is early this morning, market open, right? You can tell that this particular moment has a very high volatility than this, right? This is like towards end of yesterday, right? You can see how slow the candles are here or how tiny the candles are here. Of course, you can imagine this is like from six candle movement of like roughly 5 hours. Yeah, couldn't cover the gap. The candles covered in 30 minutes. And of course, early this morning as well, right? So that's what it is. Okay. Low volatility means smaller moves, slower market, less opportunities. Okay. Now, so quick, I had to rush through this so that I know I'm looking at my time, right? So you don't get to miss out. So quick over recap. The FX market here is moved by the big players. The big players are institutions, banks. We can't try to move against them, right? We cannot basically. Right? Oh, the best thing we can do is just to take advantage of their movement, rather. Yeah, take advantage of their movement. Wait and know when they step in and take advantage of it, right? Countries, economies affect currencies, right? You don't expect a country in war to have like the best economy or the best currency strength. Sessions also control price movement or market movement, right? Overlaps create the biggest opportunities. If you can spot these overlaps, this is what you can do in your personal, um, either your backtesting time or your personal study time, right? Just look at these times I've called out. 2 a.m. in the morning, right? 6:30 to 8 a.m. That's London Asian London overlap. 11 to 12 to 2 p.m. London New York overlap. New York session starts by 2:30 p.m. London session starts by 8 a.m. Right? And not just these times, right? The particular instruments you trade within this time frame matters a lot. Right? You cannot take let's say you want to trade DAX, German DAX. This is an European index, right? You don't expect DAX to give you the biggest biggest move during the Asian session. It's not even possible. You don't expect DAX to give you the biggest move during the Asian session. DAX will give you the best move, right? Once London opens. And of course during London New York overlap, right? Same with FTSE. I'm showing you indices that are like purely, purely, purely for their time. This is UK 100. Some total of like, I think the top um the top 100 companies here in the UK. You don't expect Dow Jones, US Stats, to give you superb move during London session. You don't expect to give you amazing, crazy moves during the Asian session, right? It will give you the best move it has, right? During the New York Open. Okay. Same thing like AED USD. AED USD has nothing to do with Asia. I want to get the best move of AED USD during the Asian session. That's when everyone is asleep, right? USD JPY can give you some amazing, interesting moves. All right. This is market open. This is like two. Yeah, oh, is this? I don't something happened today in the market anyway, but I can't actually especially say what happened. There should be a news something happened, right? So you don't expect USDJPY to give you the craziest, sorry, you should expect USDJPY to give you the craziest move during the Asian session. And if I pick, let's say, so many things, CHFJPY. CHFJPY has nothing to do with New York because the Swiss franc, Switzerland is an European country, right? So it's best to trade it during the London session or the Asian, right? So if you understand all of this, you know the best pair, right, to take advantage of within these particular times, right? So, so that's just basically what it is, right? That's basically what it is. These are the market players, right? These are the market players and taking advantage of them, all right? These are the market players and taking advantage of them. So that's so at this particular point, I believe you got something from the section. So that is where we draw the curtain for today. So tomorrow we'll talk about the next thing we have on the tomorrow we'll talk about the next thing we have on the table, right? That is let me get it so that we don't run out of for my having some crazy cough. Tomorrow we talk about, of course, our next beginner session is gonna be introduction to trading view and 95, understanding this ooh, all right. Now I see. Now I see. That's interesting. That's interesting. Now I see. Okay. So let's see how that plays out anyway. So our next beginner session is going to be introduction to training view and MT5, breaking down everything you need to know, and that should be Friday. So don't miss it. Chart analogy. Why, some beginner trader will say, why must it be trading view? Can't we use this other place? Can't we use this other thing? Right? So you get to understand, and of course, how to actually make analysis very easy for you using your smartphone. All right. So anticipate on Friday, talk about that, and ensure not to miss the beginner and um the beginner and the intermediate sessions. All right. So all the best, family, and have an amazing day.